ONEWAY Fighting.
Miles, no, I know who it is.
I was just about to introduce it then. This is ONEWAY Fighting Podcast. We're here with Ross Pointon today, Miles Muncie and me, Neil Smith. I was just about to introduce the show and then Ross just recognised Miles halfway through me doing it. So good way to start with a laugh and a smile in it. So you recognise him now? He fought on your show?
Of course, yeah. Good fight. Yeah, I really enjoyed the fight and that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, shame it all went tits up, with COVID and stuff.
I wasn't sure if that was a bad subject or not.
The GP UK 42 in. Just got that show in. You fought on that show, didn't you, Miles?
February, weren't it?
Yeah, we were at a new venue as well, so the venue was cracking, man, and it's one to improve on as well and make it better every time. So now hopefully the restrictions are going to get lifted soon. Let's see what happens. I'm not looking at doing anything yet with GP UK, but I'm just going to let other people feel the water out first, and see what happens. Let's hope that we don't get tier 4. Lockdown again to lockdown 4.
You've got a massive problem with doing shows at the minute because everyone's got to sit 2 meters apart and all that, because that's going to be for the foreseeable, mate. So it's poorly, really, for you, isn't it?
As well, with people, obviously, everyone's losing their jobs, everything. It's going to be hard for amateur shows, especially. The big shows, UFCs and stuff, they can obviously afford it, but obviously amateur shows, that's what they're built for. The middle class and working class lot and us lot and the fans and that's the most important part. And obviously,
without the smaller shows, then people can't get to the biggest shows. I'm to say is the for the younger age lads, they need shows like my show. They need it so they can get the experience, so they can move on to the bigger shows and become professionals. You know what I mean? That's always been my avenue, to give the amateurs a stepping stone, a decent show, safe show, run correctly, that they can come fight on, you can have a nice time, go away with memories, hopefully, if they get the win. Hopefully, if they lose, they don't get such a bad loss, it dents the confidence, you know what I mean? And they can come back and have another go, do you know what I mean? And even if they don't, they can just get all the big bright lights and, the big cage, and they can feel like they're the beanies, you know what I mean? And they can go, they're up there with the best as well, because just because you're an amateur doesn't mean you have to act like an amateur,
I get you. 100%.
You're an amateur and you act like a pro, you know what I mean? Because you want to be a pro. Otherwise, you act like an amateur, you're always going to be an amateur. So it's a professional show for amateurs, you know what I mean?
You know what, Ross? There's a good point about what you're saying, though, the way you're running that, in terms of thinking about the actual competitors themselves. Because I've always, not all of them, but some of the white collars, especially in Liverpool and stuff like that. I'm not mentioning any names, but I knew one guy who was he was a pro boxer, had to stop because he got his exhibitable done in. And he ended up just doing white collars, and they were putting any old person in the fight, and he was bingoing everyone in like under a minute. But it's good that you got people like you in the MMA community. You're making sure that, like, you're talking about denting their confidence and just throwing them in there and stuff like that. For me, that's one of the
remember, a lot of it's down to the coach as well.
Yeah,
the coach as well. It's you got to be on the right path with them as well, because they've got to know their fight and you've got to know your fight, and you've got to trust each other when you're matching it, so it becomes a good match. You know what I mean? Or you can have a mismatch and there's going to be no fight there.
Yeah, you get certain gyms, don't you, that just sort of end up getting hammered just because they're putting them in against anyone rather than actually matching the fight properly, and that, don't you?
Yeah. Well, I'm very lucky that I've got, obviously, Ross knows, and Jimmy Warhead, Joe, who was in the corner, and Bobby and Josh now, Hampton as well. That was like world-class level. Like, I'm very lucky that we've got world-class ex-fighters and fighters and coaches, and obviously not everyone has that opportunity. Obviously, there's amazing gyms out there. You know, obviously, we've got Knox gyms and loads in Manchester, obviously in Stoke, and yeah, I've got good gyms. I mean, but not everyone has that opportunity, and obviously, I'm blessed. I am blessed. That, like, I've got one of the best coaches in the UK.
Coach. That's what you're trying to say, or a Bellator. You know, not everybody's got a UFC coach. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
that's perfect.
Oh,
Hey, Ross, with you saying that, I always remember, because you've coached me in the past. You said to me when you went into the Ultimate Fighter, and this is, I mean, going into your background now more than anything. You know, I mean, it was a conversation we had in the gym, but you were like, oh, when I went into the Ultimate Fighter, I was just banging a boxing bag in a gym and that. And, you know, what sort of jump was that for you then, in terms of your background, what you were doing before the Ultimate Fighter, and what, you know, the difference was there?
Well, obviously, you know, I've always come from a striking background. You know, I've been into martial arts since the age of 5. Karate, Kung Fu, and then into Western boxing.
You did the Chinese boxing as well, didn't you?
And then from Western boxing, yeah, I went over, did a bit of Muay Thai. Then from Muay Thai, I went to American kickboxing and Chinese kickboxing. My coach was a world champion at that. And then I became British champion, twice British champion, represented England over in Portugal. And then I went over into the grappling. Obviously, I was doing grappling because nobody was doing that kind of thing around my area. Do you know what I mean? We watched it after one night, after a Thai boxing session at one of my mates' houses, Conrad. And yeah, he put it on. It was a video, a VHS video that he got from out of one of the magazines. And he was like, check this out. And he put it on. And that was it, man. I was like, I watched it. I sat there and watched the old tape after training. Yeah. And then I went home. I was just like amazed. And I was just like,
I was saying, Miles is only 20. I was saying to him about VHS before. Like, this is me and you. I remember being in the video shop and going in, and it was UFC, bands from TV and all that, exactly like what you're saying. And I was explaining to him the difference. Nowadays, you just stream everything on your phone, knockout, 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 knockout. But that was the same for me. What you've just said there about getting the video, you'd sit there and watch it with the boys.
I was having a pee the other day, and it come to me head, and I thought, I wonder how many people remember these days when there was no MMA apparel, because obviously I've got my own brand now, g5gear.com.
Yeah.
You know, so I push that in my gym with my fighters, because, you know, and I'm trying to get it out there. And
well, if you've got a link, we'll put it below.
Then there was no brands, there was no fight gear. You just wear board shorts, surfing shorts, because that's what it was. It was like it come from the beach, kind of, you know, Brazil, and do you know what I mean? The grappling, it wasn't really. Yeah, okay, you had your Japanese jiu-jitsu and your old school, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this was something a bit different, man. That's how it was portrayed, you know what I mean? It was, yeah, it was the new kid on the block, wasn't it? You know what I mean? Back then as well, you know, watching that video and stuff, and I just needed to learn it, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I just got a grappling mag. That was from W.H. Smith's, because obviously you could only get magazines and the internet wasn't out. And I managed to find this. I think there was only about 2 books in there that they used to have, and that was it then. I just hunted it down, you know what I mean, and started with the coach, you know, and I started working with Braulio Estima. You know, he was like one of the first guys. Well, Carl Tanswell was the first guy I started with. You know, I was training with Carl and Gavin from Predators. And then I went over and started training with Braulio, because obviously, you know, that's just how it went. You know, you just went different places and tried different things, you know what I mean? And then I put on a gi then, because obviously I went to Carl and I was just learning so much in grappling. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So I never really, you know, Carl was in all the magazines then, you know, God rest his soul, you know what I mean? He was in all the magazines, the guy, you know what I mean? And Rick, you know what I mean? You read the magazines, and Jeff Thompson, and these were the guys, man, that were there. And You know, I trained down at Red Corner as well in Coventry and stuff. And, you know, I got around a bit. I trained with these guys, you know, greats, man. You know,
you had Ian Freeman back then as well, didn't you?
Sorry?
Ian Freeman was another breaking one, wasn't he, at the time?
Yeah. You know, obviously, I didn't know Ian then. But obviously, Birmingham was close to me. You know, I trained with Braulio and Victor Steamer, you know, and I got my belt under them, like my blue belt and that took me like a couple of years to get that. And back then, it took that long. Forget your blue belts, you know, and you were there all the time, you know what I mean?
I've got a big problem. Some people just get their belts, like it's like that, bang, they just get it. And it's like, the amount of work put into it, like, and like you say, you used to, I mean, I didn't bother getting graded because I just thought it'd take that long.
Yeah, I used to go like twice a week to him, do 2-hour PTs twice a week, and then I'd do the class after, so I was there for like 3.5 hours twice a week, you know, doing gi, no gi, upping my game, but I was still raw, you know what I mean? But then I was still got some game because I won a world title, you know. I you know, people know that, you know, I took the title off Francis Carmount back then in 2004. You know, and to get to that point, I'd had many battles, Chinese kickboxing, which is very similar to mixed martial arts.
Yeah.
Normal kickboxing, you know, battles in the streets, you know, becoming the person I was going to become today.
How many battles in the street?
What?
How many battles in the street without getting you into trouble?
Yeah. You know, and then obviously, you know, the fighting kind of like matured me. Do you know what I mean? It found me passion, you know, the martial arts, you know, in my 20s, you know, I got really hungry for it, you know, in like 2019, 20. And then, you know, I just pushed it and I thought, you know, I'd never done anything at school. You know, I've got no qualifications. All my teachers said I'd never do anything, you know. The way I'm going to end up in a box or, you know, prison, or, you know, I just got nothing going for me, you know. I need to change my life, and martial arts helped me do that, you know. Putting me time and my energy into myself, pulling myself away from people and channeling my energy into something positive and focusing on that and not letting it go.
Were you surrounded by bad people at the time? Like,
I'd say bad people, but just you know,
the rough crowd.
You know, people makes you are today. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean you stay with them people. You know, you go on different journeys, and it doesn't mean they're bad people. Do you know what I mean? You just, you know, society and just life, and it's you know, sometimes you see the movies.
So what got you?
Sorry,
Ross. Is that what got you into MMA? Getting out of the bad crowd and getting focused,
getting out the street, mate. Yeah, you know, you know, and that's what gave me the passion to do what I did and to change my life and become the guy I am today, where I've got like 4 businesses. You know what I mean? You know, you know, I've had jobs. Don't get me wrong. You know, I'm a qualified welder. You know, I'm a roofer. You know, I did tiled roofing, flat roofing, fiberglass roofing. You know, I worked for my dad in the bar. I lived in pubs all my life, and you know, believe it or not, I worked underage for my dad in the pub. He gave me a job. I worked serving pints. You know what I mean, cleaning the salads, bottles and stuff. But you still kind of like have to have a bit of something else going on.
You've got to have your own path. You've got to have your own path.
I believe, because I believe that I just needed to be something more than that. You know what I mean? And just and then and then the fighting, I channeled all that negative energy, that anger, all that you know, hate. You know, because I'd had some bad altercations on the streets that changed my life, you know what I mean? I had someone try to shoot me, you know what I mean? You know, things like that, you know. You hit the gutter and you realise that this isn't no good, you know what I mean? but you still got to graft at the same time, man. And,
it's amazing.
I was working hard, doing the things that I was doing, training hard, taking the fights I needed to take, and then in the end, like I say, I found a magazine, I found a show, I rang the promoter from out of one of the combat magazines. Said, listen, you know, I'm British champion, you know, Chinese boxing champion, you know, I've been doing this so long, I've been grappling, I want to make me debut, you know, a professional debut in MMA, and that's how it started, mate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I won the world title on my fourth professional fight.
I mean, that in itself is an achievement. But going back to what you were saying, like where you were saying you were shot at and that, and you nearly shot. It's a recurring theme in MMA, isn't it?
I challenged my energy into getting me black belt in Chinese kickboxing and American kickboxing.
Yeah,
you know.
Well,
you know,
Darren Till said the same, and Matt Brown was hooked on drugs, and it's like that almost life-changing thing that you've had someone shooting at you, that you're like, you said, you just got to challenge your energy elsewhere, or you're just going to end up with that being, you know, what happens to you. I mean, how long was it before?
That was the ending point. There was things going on prior to that point.
All right,
it wasn't that thing, you know. Then people
cumulative.
I mean, what they did that day was the point.
Yeah.
Where sorry,
how far or how close? Sorry, this
is the kind of life. This is where I was at. For instance, one of the Cage Warriors weigh-ins. Yeah. I'd had an altercation. It was the Iraq War. It just happened. There was loads going on. We've got loads of people coming into the country. You know what I mean? That we didn't really. There was loads of stuff going on, and the society had just changed on the street and that as well. And I'll be honest, it was the day before. It was the weigh on. It was the day of the weigh in, and I was coming through the back streets of town and through Beerslem, and there was two guys crossing the street, and I just beat me on. I'd got my young baby in the back, which was stupid of me. Now I think about it now, how foolish I was, you know. I'd got me ex-partner with me, my baby's mother with me, and what they just like, I just snapped, man. You know, like they just beat me on, and they started going on at me in the middle of the street, and I'm like, guys, you're in the middle of the street. I'm beeping you on because you're walking in the middle of the road. I need to get past. They just started going on, man. I just drove down the road, pulled my car over, jumped out. They walked up to the car, gone in the back of the car, opened the back of the car. One has pulled a big table chair leg out, like a, you know, like a bat. The other one,
old
school. Pair of jump leads out, rolled up, big pair of jump leads, coiled out. One's got that one, one's got that one. I'm just like, pulled my car over, I walked up. You know, I parked my car out of the way, do you know what I mean? But it was still foolish because, you know, I had my child and everything with me. You know.
Do you think that may save your life then, in sorts? How close were you going to that top path?
What I'm trying to say, this was at the point where my life changed as well, because obviously I was trying to change it, but you know, that's kind of like how wild it was then, because I jumped out of the car and I just ran up to them and I had a scuffle with both of them.
Did you big them?
I had a mad scuffle in the street, yeah. They stood there, one, grabbed the bat. As I've grabbed the bat, the other one's jumping with the jump leads. I've scuffled, grabbed the bat, whacked him round the legs.
Yes, Ross.
Yeah. Then we've just like squeezed me over the face. We've just all scuffling then, like in people's doorways, like the old terraced house doorways, fighting. And then in the end, it just come to a point where it was like they just backed off and just walked off, man. And it was like they didn't want no more. And then I just got in the car and I had all like marks down my face, all down my back where they hit me with the jump leads. They were actually imprinted on me and that, like, you know, and like Letty went away in that day as well. It was nice. Yeah.
I probably think you got fucked up in sparring.
It's there. It's on the internet, mate. It's there. There's a little review on the Cage Warriors review somewhere. It's there, mate, on the internet. If you put
it there. Click it up and add it here now. Get James to do that.
We were all talking about it, like, but then I got the call after the, obviously not the call, well, the auditions for the Ultimate Fighter came along after I fought Mike Bisping for the Cage Warriors world title.
Yeah.
Obviously. Sorry.
So how was that when you got the call? Were you like at that time? Were you aware of the UFC? Obviously, it was still when it's early stage. I'm guessing you knew.
It wasn't really the UFC that called. Do you know what I mean? It was what happened was I fought the Frenchman, Thomas Valentine, the Swedish guy, and then I fought the Frenchman, Jerome Milan from France. He was some famous grappler, and I tapped him out with a standing guillotine and jumped up, tapped him out with that, and then they gave me the title shot against Bisping. Ian Dean did. He asked me if I wanted fighting, and I was like, yeah, definitely, of course, give me the opportunity.
Did you already know Michael?
Sorry?
Did you already know Michael at that point? Because you were good friends at the end of the series.
I didn't know him, though. I didn't know him. Obviously, I knew the champ. I'd seen him on the posters. I'd got him on a poster in the gym on the wall and that, Cage Warriors posters. And, aspiring, believing, thinking, wanting. And I made it happen because thinking about it, looking at that poster before I even got to that point, fighting all them other guys from international fighters, because I've never fought anybody from England, really, at the beginning. There was a couple, then they've all become international fighters, you know what I mean, from France and Sweden. And then, obviously, I fought Mike for the Cage Warriors world title. But then, Mike had just been doing the ground a lot longer than me. He was more experienced on the ground than me. He'd got Mario Sakota, and the Sakota brothers come over from Brazil that were teaching him his ground game. He come from a Japanese jiu-jitsu background. Do you know what I mean? Whereas the Chinese kickboxing, but he
won't bother again.
We'll get to the point where we're talking about, because that was good, man. That was good. I was getting good there.
So we're on viewers. If it's edited weird, we had a Windows update halfway through, professional as ever. So you'll have to apologise if it's edited odd. But go on, you guys, you carried it on without me there. You want to go back and
I'll just repeat. Sorry, bro. Yeah, just to repeat the question I had. So Ross, like through your fight career, obviously we'll talk about how you had like demons. Obviously, we know about what you're saying at the start about the fights that you had at streets and stuff like that. But how's your MMA career helped you through to fight those demons? And how is it now?
With that martial arts, I wouldn't have got through what I got through, without not being able to go out and run the road with myself, with my own demons, and channel all that negativity. I remember sitting there at a point and saying, this can't be happening anymore. I need to change. And then I can do this. I'm still young enough. I can put my heart and soul into this, and I can make myself to be not a fucking loser.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As in not a loser in life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
no offense to people. What I mean is, I couldn't sit there working a 9 to 5 for somebody else. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've done it as well. I couldn't do it. That's just me. I need to be my own boss. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So when you retired, how did that affect you? Did that, because obviously you had your career, having fight, getting paid, and all that, and then there's a switch. You have to retire, and
but what you remember is, right, at the beginning of this martial arts career, You fight for the love of fighting and the passion of winning and for the passion of competing and the passion of just going, fucking yes.
Yeah.
So you just carried that on for your career.
Coming out and feeling like that. Yeah. But at some point, that went. Do you know what I mean?
When do you think that was?
That went and the money come into it. Do you know what I mean?
Are you talking about you or general?
I don't, what's that?
Are you talking about the money came into it for you, or are you talking about the fight game in general?
Possibly for me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then you forget, don't you? Because then you're chasing the money then.
But watching the end of that Ultimate Fighter, Ross, that was definitely not a point where it was just about the money for you, because that for me was probably one of the best scenes in any of the Ultimate Fighters, where Bisping won and you could see the emotion on your face. You wanted it, and it was actually quite touching watching you and Bisping together at that point. I mean, that was passion.
I lost my world then. My world was just crumbled in an instant, because for one moment, this is what people don't realize. You're there, you're at the top. Okay, you're not live on tally, but you're going to be. It's just you and them other guys there. You've gone from being able to prepare for fights in your own mind, in your own time, in your own way, to going and living in an house with 16 guys that all want the same thing as you want, and they've all come from good pedigree. Do you know what I mean?
You had some tasty guys in there,
Hey,
yeah.
And I think as well, I didn't know how to wrestle then, in a sense. Do you see what I mean? I knew how to grapple. I was learning how to grapple. Still wasn't there yet. Whereas if that come now, for me now, it'd be a different ball game altogether, because I'm far more technical. I know how to wrestle. I know how to grapple. Do you know what I mean? I know how to put a gi on. Do you know what I mean? Do you see what I mean? You go back that far, it just come too soon for me.
Do you think you were disadvantaged with going on
myself? I was paving the way myself.
Sorry, mate, I didn't mean to cut you off. Do you not think you were disadvantaged being on Ken's team?
Way once I hadn't got a coach coaching me, like Mike had got a manager, Mike had got a coach, a full team there, guiding him, giving him the training, whereas me, I was discovering the training and discovering the right way to do it myself, trial and error, hiccups here, hiccups there. Do you know what I mean? I didn't have anybody really, because like I said, I was going and I was paying for them few privates, them 6 hours a week. And then I was having come back to my own gym, and then I was having him implement that to myself, as well as push myself, as well as do all the fitness myself and the strength training myself. Do you see what I mean? I didn't have anybody up above that was my coach because I had my own gym. I was doing it on my own. You know what I mean? I'd managed to get to the UFC through the kickboxing. So in a sense, I didn't get there on my own, because all them guys in my kickboxing career helped me. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to say. There's people that get you to that point, aren't they?
Yeah.
Sometimes you can get lost along the way as well. Do you know what I mean? Because you want to do your own thing. You think maybe your way's better than somebody else's as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is that why you're very passionate now to help the young? Obviously, you've got a great gym, got a lot of young lads who are talented. You feel that experience of having to do it on yourself, you want to help them out?
I believe one day somebody's going to walk in my gym and they're going to be the one. I haven't got nobody in the UFC yet. You know what I mean? I'm still in contact with the UFC. You know what I mean? If the right fighter come along, it wouldn't be hard for me to get in touch with him and say, I've got this guy. I had a guy, Nathan Dale. Nathan Dale fought for me, went 10-0 under me as an amateur, number one in the country as an amateur on the files. It was there.
Yeah.
Got me belt in my gym on my wall. You know, he won it 3 times, defended it 3 times against 3 different tough guys from around the country. So he's not like somebody I just gave him, and they were good fighters who he fought. It wasn't just somebody I nurtured him, I gave him the right fights, we gave him the right fights, we took him to other shows, he proved he could do it there. But then babies come along, jobs come along, work comes along for these people, and it can be difficult because you have to have your life as well. You can't just drop your life for them. You have to do it has to be both ways.
I see that a lot in some of the local gyms around Liverpool.
And if you've given somebody so much and you've got nurtured them, you've got them that, okay, they've done the fights, they've got in there at fault because they have to do it. You don't do it, but you nurture them, you help them, you support them, you train them right, you give them the right fights, you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm saying? To give them the confidence that hopefully, eventually they're going to be able to do the cuts, do all the dieting, do the training, believe in themselves, that then it's right time, give the people the core, and then they go on to the bigger things. But it's not going to happen overnight. It's loyalty, and it's just like the Karate Kid. I just started watching Cobra Kai. Have you started watching it?
Yeah. It's all right. It's a bit of nostalgia in it, like, but some of the fighting's a bit shat, like, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's my era, man. You know what I mean? That's my era. You know, that film helped me out a lot, mate.
I like the spin that they put on it.
Yeah. You know, I was going through that myself. I had a few lads that were bullying me, you know what I mean? Picking on me because I had nice clothes and because me mum and dad had good job and that, you know what I mean? And you get what I'm trying to say? That's what kids are like, man.
Yeah.
You know, and yanking off from you think of your mates and things like that. And yeah, just, I don't know, mate, just life, just like I say, because it's a journey, isn't it? And all them things that happen to you in life, then people you cross and path, you know, make you are, I believe.
I had some kid in school who was year above, who was never bullied me or nothing, like, but always was a fucking knobhead to me. Proper knobhead, like, just like, he'd look at you like you were a piece of shit, you know what I mean? And I got to the point, like, where 5 years later in the pub, and I'm now like 18 stone, not far off a 6-pack, looking good and that. And all of a sudden he's in the pub. Oh, look at you, leg arms and all this, like, talking to me. And you look at these people who are bullies, man, they're just cowards. And like, you can't let them get in there because they just, you know, as soon as you're doing something that they want a bit of, then they're your friend then. But it's one of them. It takes you until your 20s for you to actually realise it, though, because when you're a teenager, you're still not there in the head to understand.
I still the 3 lads, I had a fight with the 3. I still remember popping one lad's nose with a knee to the face. You know, I'd done a bit of karate, and I felt like the karate had given me, you know, it was a few lessons that I'd done above the police station in Newcastle under Lyme in the library. And the guy, you know, they were all there in the karate suits. I went with my mum, and it was mainly my mum who was doing it. And I don't know whether she did it, and I went with her, and I just picked up some things. And then I'd done a bit of boxing as well. I told me dad that these people were picking on me. Do you know what I mean? And anyway, I had 2 of them, and then one of the lads, there was a lad who messaged me a few years back and says, "Remember your dad come?" And he stood there and made sure, and he stood at the side and made sure, like, you know, nobody else. And I had this guy, you know what I mean? And I sorted it, you know what I mean? And you know, it was a turning point for me. You know, and then I carried on with the boxing and stuff, and then you get to a point where you become a teenager, going out with your mates and stuff like that, and then I moved around a lot because my dad owned pubs, you know what I mean? So I lived in Stoke, and I moved from Stoke to Stafford. I lived in Stafford for a few years as well, and then from Stafford come back to Stoke. But when I lived in Stoke, I've lived all around in different pubs as well. Do you know what I mean? So always trying to make new friends and that as well. So that was difficult going to new schools, you know, and having, I don't felt like I had to prove a point then because I'd been bullied before and I didn't want it happen again. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It can all rest on the first day at a new school, can't it? You can either hit it off and then you're the big thing, or you can just have a shit day and then you're just, you're there. You can have a shit day and it's just, that's it, you're fucked then. It's
100%.
Yeah. But like I say, you go back to that films and things like that. It gives you the confidence to go out and do these things. Might seem silly, they do help you.
How's your films going?
Yeah, talk about films. Good transition.
You mentioned it.
Obviously, I've just landed a part in the new Mortal Kombat movie. Not the one that's just coming out, Warner Brothers, but a new one produced by a couple of guys, Alan and Scott, and they've given me the part. And Daniel Piscina, Johnny Cage. He's in it. Yeah, he's in it. I'm fighting. I can't say anything anyway. Yeah, but I'm fighting. Yeah, I've got.
They won't be happy with you. Okay.
I've got a decent part in the movie. Yeah. So it's a speaking role as well as a fighting role. So it's a big step.
Starting filming for that or
August. Yeah, I've started talking and showing different moves and that, because they've even offered me some choreography. So they want me choreograph the whole fight scene.
Yeah.
So it's sick, mate, because it's like another notch on my belt. I get the credit from the Hollywood film, and then I get my opportunity to deliver these lines the best way I can. I have the opportunity to deliver the best fight scene I can deliver, as realistic as possible and not far-fetched. Do you know what I mean? Which people are going to see, man. It's going to be aired on YouTube. Yes, so they're going to be playing it on YouTube, because obviously with the cinemas and everything what's going on, so they're going to be it's a big deal, man.
Do you feel that that's revived your energy in the sense that after your retirement?
Oh man, this is what I needed. This is 5 years, mate. 5 years. When I finished fighting, I haven't retired. I still haven't retired today. I'm training now.
You're looking
somebody
well,
said to me and picked up the phone and offered me the right deal. I'm going to take it, mate. I was speaking to
Paul, Ross.
The match.
Jake Paul, get yourself $1 million.
Mate, I'm there, mate.
Call him out now. Let's clip it. We need to clip it.
Let's
call
get
him out.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, we'll do 10 seconds of you calling out Jake Paul now. Yeah.
And he'll respond to it it'll be lovely. It'll be great.
The bell end.
This is the thing, I've changed a lot since then. I'm more cool, calm, and collect.
What do you think?
The acting. Sorry?
What do you think of all that? All these YouTubers and celebrities coming into MMA and boxing. Do you feel it's a bit of a taking the piss, or do you think it's great for the sports?
I think it's good for the sport, because it's publicity, isn't it? Any publicity is good publicity in a sense. You know what I mean? It's all exposure. It's getting people talking. It's getting people thinking and looking. Who's this guy? What he done? Oh, right. You know what I mean? So, there might be people out there that know that Paul and go and look at things and find MMA and then they've become an MMA fan.
Yeah. Even in MMA, we've had it with Aaron Chalmers. Obviously, he's a Geordie Shore lad. And
that was my mate, Greg. He fought. My mate Greg fought him, yeah. And that Aaron Chalmers turned up about 12 pound overweight or something, and then just wasn't apologising for it. He was just like, fuck off. To be fair, he went in and he did the business, but I don't think he should have been fighting Greg. He was massive in comparison to him,
It's a great example of someone who, was a celebrity but took it seriously. I think he's had 6 fights now, hasn't he? He's Bellator. He's still fighting now, I think.
He's retired now, ain't he, that guy? I think he's retired, hasn't he?
Did he?
Come out.
Aaron?
He stopped fighting MMA, so I think I was reading something. He's gone over into boxing.
I think he's gone into boxing. I think he's gone into boxing now.
Bigger paydays.
Yeah, definitely.
After I haven't fought now for I think it's 7 years now. 8 years, maybe now almost. You know, obviously I had my daughter. You know, she's just turned 5 the day after my birthday, which was February, just gone. So you know, I've just been concentrating on because I was fighting and I was trying to fight just to pay the bills.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I wasn't fighting for passion. It wasn't fighting to become better. It was fighting to survive. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you lose, yeah, this is what I believe. You maybe need somebody there to say, no, you don't need to have this fight yet. You need to stay away from that for a bit. And you need to get your head right. And you need to get your confidence back. And then you need fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, massive.
You've got bills paying and you've got no other way of making money. Because when the UFC came, I channeled everything into that and I just changed my life completely. Because, like I say, I fought Bisping for the world title.
Kendall Grove as well.
I get the auditions for the Ultimate Fighter, you know, so I go down after the fight with Bisping, not with Bisping, but we just fought. So we were high, you know, it was fresh on the scene. The auditions were just happening in London. So after we fought, like a few days, I think it was like literally the weekend after, I think, we went down to London to the auditions. There was like a few thousand people there. And obviously, I ended up rolling with my coach, Braulio. So that was, you know, my jiu-jitsu coach. You know, he was one of the best in the country at the time. You know what I mean? Was like, you know, I went the distance with him. And I thought, he couldn't get in because he'd not got a British passport. So that was sucked for him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know, there was all the people there as well. And and then I got the phone call, you know what I mean? I rolled with Forrest, rolled with Stefan, did some pads with Stefan and stuff as well.
Yeah.
And then, like, you know, went in the room, had a bit of a chat with Dana and stuff. You know, obviously I'd fought Valentine over him as well. You know? So, you know, I've got a good resume of people who I'd fought leading up to that point. And season 1 and season 2, it had loads of guys that were pulling out and weren't fighting. I can't remember the issues that they were, but they wanted guys that were real. They didn't want no pussies. They didn't want no guys pulling out. You know what I mean?
Dana says that classic line, doesn't he? Where he go, there's like 2 people who turned down Michael Bisping after Matt Hamill's injured. And then he goes, I know who'll fight him. And it's you, big guy, you're in there and you're like, and you've just been eating pizza the night before or something, thinking that you were, and you're in there going, yeah, I'll fight him. No problem. When? What day? That's what you needed, man. That's what really gave you mass appeal at the time. Like,
obviously you had to sell yourself, you know, in that interview. It was like a job interview. I had to sell myself. You know, I went in there, you know, there was Drake Pellegrino there from Spike TV. Dana was there, you know, and I'm sitting there in front of one of my idols kind of thing, you know, with the boss man. You know what I mean? Thinking, do I want this? Yeah, I want this. You know what I mean? But I don't know whether I've got the job or not. And then I get the phone call. And that phone call changed my life because it was a kind of, I found out about visas into other countries then. Do you see what I mean? Because I hadn't really been a man of the world. Okay, I'd been to Turkey and places like that and France and stuff, but what I'm trying to say is I hadn't been a man of the world in myself where this was different. I was going to America.
Out of your comfort zone.
Not on my back. Not money that I could afford. I fought for this. I've trained hard for the last, 5-6 years. Yeah? Again, like I've been with me acting. Every week, I'm there with my private coach, acting, going to master classes at the weekends, acting with professionals and groups. I'm putting in the graft. Do you know what I mean? And I've been doing that for 5 years. And then Sunday night, a couple of weeks ago, I get the phone call out the blue, just like the UFC. Yeah. me out of the blue. You've got the job. Hey,
a
Ross.
bit like
Hey, Ross, it's the UFC.
How was it? How was it with Dana? Sorry, Ross. How was it seeing Dana? Like, what's he like in real life? Speaking to him, and obviously we just see him in press conferences and all that. How is it talking to him? How is he as a person? Like,
he's a cool guy, man. Yeah,
down to earth, Sam.
Yeah,
straight business.
What we, that's all I really know. Do you know what I mean? I can't,
Can't comment on him as
now, you know what I mean? But yeah, he was always fair and square with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Love that.
Going back to the Ultimate Fight, how do you?
It's a tough game, isn't it? Staying in the UFC as well.
Yeah. Just got rid of JBS and over him, haven't they? It's crazy.
Yeah. It's a dog eat dog world, and it's.
Yeah, man, you can't afford to lose.
Go on, carry on. Yeah, sorry.
Sorry. Going back to the UFC, how was your relationship with Michael Bisping? Because there was a video that I've been eager to mention, the blocked toilet incident. I don't know if you remember. It was hilarious, and like the way you were just talking to him, as if it's like it was really like friendly, but like kind of like. You know how you've seen clips on the Ultimate Fight and they're like neck and neck. It was like kind of like your mates and like you were just having a bit of banter. Is that how you felt when you were with him and kind of?
I believe we're friends. Whether he believes we're friends, I don't know. We talk to each other. He messages me. He comments on my pictures and stuff, and he's always checking in on the gym Instagram page and liking the pictures and stuff. So yeah, we're friends, mate. I would have loved to have gone a third time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was going to say, because you're an actor, do you reckon he's doing some acting? You can get a little third time in on screen, and you can choreograph it so you can kick his ass.
You can go back to that fight, and I'd been sat on my ass for like 2 months.
Yeah,
in loser house, or what was it? 6 weeks, 3 weeks, was it? Something like that. Anyway, I was slat in a loser house on my arse, eating fried chicken, drinking. The fridges were full. You're in a multi-million-pound mansion with a swimming pool, jacuzzi. I've got pictures, mate. It was the carpet. I've never seen the carpet like it since. The carpet was like 3 inches thick. My feet, I'll never forget it. I took my foot on my feet, just buried into the carpet like that. I never experienced anything like that before. The gates leading up to the house had private gates, big gates, like good 25 foot tall, with lions both sides. And you went into a private road. It was like a private gated road. It was sick, mate.
Yeah,
massive.
Yeah, and I was the first person in that house. You see, so I had the best room. I had a jacuzzi in my room. I had 4 posts. Yeah, and then we obviously, you didn't think you were going to get back in the house. 1 minute you're up, the next minute you're down there. You're a winner, then you're a loser.
Yeah,
depression, and you don't think you can get back on the show. You do the wrong things, really. Whereas maybe if I had somebody to guide me and say, listen, if you go in that situation, you do that, don't do this, don't do that. And somebody to just sit on my shoulder and just inspire me a little bit. Whereas I've had that experience. If I'd got a fighter doing something like that, I could inspire him a bit and say, listen, try not do this, try not do that, and guide in the right way,
The Ultimate Fighter for me, where you're saying that about being guided a bit, and I know when like you go into the Ultimate Fighter, you're there for like 12 weeks plus whatever. But it seemed to me like even Bisping said, having Tito Ortiz as his coach, he said, I've done this, and this. I'm mentally here. And you had Ken Shamrock, who, like, his only contribution to your second fight was saying, Ross can bang. And then it just didn't look like he was doing anything with you.
Yeah, he did, mate. He did. We did things, mate. Like I learned some decent moves off Ken. which I still teach now to this day, and I drop his name in when I teach him. You know, he teach me a sick triangle escape. You know what I mean? You know, things that, you know, now I've had chance to incorporate and drill. Because okay, you can show you something, but it's not going to sink in. Not going to sink in straight away. Not for a long time. You got to drill, repetition. You know, over the years now, it's just all here in my head. It's just like, and that's what I'm saying. It's a bit different now. But going back to the loser house, you know, drinking and eating crap. And then I heard along the grapevine about what was going on in the house, that these fighters were losing, you know, and, you know, this guy lost, he'd gone to the other loser house. And then I got the phone call about Matt getting injured and stuff. And I said to production, like, we've got these chaperones that were looking after us. I said to the chaperones, listen, I'll fight now, you know, get me back in that house. You know, next thing I've got production on the phone to me saying, you know, do you want this, like, and then, next thing, you know, I'm speaking, you know, with Dana, and I'm back in the show, mate, you know what I mean? But back in the show unfit, unhealthy, because I've been stuck in a loser house where you've got no team, you've got nothing. You don't think you're going to get back in there. It's a wildest dream. I didn't think that would happen to me. I thought that was it. It's done, dusted. Yeah. Next thing, I'm
looking back,
I've got the opportunity to get that 6-figure contracts and be number one, the ultimate fighter. Do you know what I mean?
100%. Yeah. Looking back, how do you feel that affected you, that up and down, you know, losing, crashing down, then getting the call back, going back up? Do you think that affected you after
cutting weight for the Kendall Grove fight? Stupid me didn't know who Kendall Grove was. Picks the fucking best grappler in you know what I mean?
Massive Kendall Grove, like
the fight. I don't go for the crappiest one. I go for the best one.
Like, there were so many others you could have chosen.
So I thought Kendall who won the middleweight division, and then I fight Bisping who won the light heavyweight division. But I'd never cut weight before because I was a heavyweight. I was a heavyweight fighting, then dropped to light heavy, which was, I was really a light heavyweight fighting at heavyweight. Do you see what I mean? I wasn't a true heavyweight. But then, you know, I've dropped down. I've had to drop from light heavyweight-ish to middleweight, first time ever with no coaching. I've never done it before. Yeah. So that played a massive effect on me because sucking 20 pound out of me in the sauna and then going having fight one of the best guys in America at the time didn't work for me because I didn't have the ground game that he had yet. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? I was still mature. I was still, you know, learning.
Was he out of? He was Hawaiian, was he? Was he out of BJ Penn's gym? Was he?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big jiu-jitsu and sort of grappling sort of base gym in it, man. That's different level stuff.
This is what I wanted with. I'm trying to think who he was with. Mate, he's got a resume anyway, you know. So when he was 6'7", I think he's 6'7", Kendall, or 6'6", something like that.
He's tall, like.
Cool, mate. One of the tallest guys I'd ever fought. And yeah, it just played a big toll on my body, cutting that weight. Yeah. And obviously, he knew that my game wasn't where his game was on the ground. He knew that, and that's why he didn't want to stand with me. You know, and he got me with the rear naked. I knew I'd get out of it, but my mind wasn't there with it. You know what I mean? From dehydration, you cut 20 pound, mate. You'll know it, and then you've got to go fight one of the best. And you're in a weird situation anyway.
Yeah.
You're not living in your own house. You're not doing all the same things. You know, you're training differently than you would do normal. It's just a different environment, mate. There's a lot going on. So it can play a toll to you as a fighter going into that fight. But either way, no regrets, mate. You know, I tried my best. I did my best.
Never.
And that's all I can do. Do you know what I mean? You know, and I did it for me. I did it to try and maybe make it better for my family. You know what I mean? So and that's all. You know, and that opportunity was taken away from me. You know, by Bisping. Bisping won it, and Bisping where he is now. Like I sometimes look back and think that could have been me, but then I wouldn't have what I've got now. And I believe God. I believe the universe has got something different in store for me. You know, and I'm gonna be great at something. You know what I mean?
Talk about that.
Which is the acting.
Leading up to the acting. That's what I want to talk about. So, what are your goals? What are your goals into the acting? What are some goals that you want to achieve?
Be the greatest actor going. That's me. And
go to Hollywood.
Yeah, just multi-worldwide. Yeah.
What kind of roles would you want to do?
Every kind of role. I don't want to just be into martial arts or anything, you know. But this, I think, getting this role is now because Diane Yodel, do you know who she is? Jet out of Gladiators.
Yeah, I remember Jet, mate.
Yeah,
she's in the movie as well. She's in the movie as well. So
you did one with she was Mitzi McQueen in Hollyoaks. I saw it on your show reel.
Yeah. She's my coach, Rachel Shenton. She just won an Oscar a couple of years ago as well.
Yeah,
man. So I believe I've got good coaches because my coach is her coach. Do you see what I mean? She put me onto it, and I just believe, well, if she can win an Oscar, I can win an Oscar. I could put my heart, and that's what I'm trying to say. Being around these people and seeing these things happen gives you incentive to, you know, I know I can do it. I've been in Hollywood before. I lived in Hollywood. Do you know what I mean? It just wasn't the right time for me then. That's something I believe. The UFC came at the wrong time for me, but it didn't because it got me to where I am today, because it's still helping me today.
Yeah, it's a process. It's a process.
You know, all that's happened to me now, I wouldn't be sat here. I wouldn't have the confidence to be an actor. I wouldn't have the confidence to go and do what I'm doing. Do you see what I mean?
Well, I understand.
You're with Mandy Actors Agency, aren't you?
Sorry?
Are you on Mandy Actors Agency? Is that the one that you're on? That's what I've seen you on the internet, just in case anyone's watching. This is where you get Ross Pointon. How did they get all you?
Yeah, you can get me on Mandy, and then you can get me on my own Facebook. You know, you can get me on my Facebook page and get me me agents, Amanda Andrews, Amanda.andrews.agency.hotmail.co.uk. Yeah, so Amanda agency anyway.
Pressure.
Yeah, she's my coach, and Rachel Shanton, and then we do master classes as well. They hold them every month. You know, so she's an Oscar winner, mate. You know, Silent Child. That's free to watch now, I think, on YouTube and on Netflix. It's about deaf. It's about deaf children in school and how they, you know, basically struggle on that. You know, so they brought a lot of things for deaf people to the forefront.
Yeah.
So but the acting is very similar to the fighting. You know what I mean? You got to use your brain the same as the fighting. Yeah. You've got to drill certain scenarios, certain exercises.
Do you think there's a lot of things that overlap that help that your UFC or MMA career helped with your acting now? Do you think there's a lot of things that have helped you from your MMA career to
confidence, like I said? You know what I mean? It's giving me the confidence. I've got to do something because I'm a creative kind of guy. Do you know what I mean? I'm not the type of person. You know, I'm running businesses, but it's difficult because I've gone from being a fighter with no qualifications, not doing well at school because I'm dyslexic, you know, going off the rails to coming back on the rails to finding myself, becoming who I am, which is a martial arts artist, you know, a fighter, a coach, you know, to becoming like a businessman, you know what I mean? A living business, business is difficult, man. You know, that's a tough fight in itself, you know.
You got to be careful in business, mate. You do what you think you're doing best to make yourself a couple of quid. Next thing, the taxman's on your ass.
Don't mess with the taxman, mate. It's not weird. People go down the wrong route there, mate. You know what I mean? You know, you can't be greedy, can you, mate? You just got to do your thing.
You get 20 years flowing the government money, mate.
give him his bit, and
Just like-
then just carry on, mate, working hard, mate, because I believe they give you what you want anyway. You got to earn it, mate, haven't you? You got to go out and earn it, mate. It don't come to you. Don't come to you, man. You got to say, this is what I'm going to do. Yeah, go on.
Sorry, talk about earning. Obviously, you've got a big role coming up, more combat. Do you feel that that's going to be the film that you can prove to people that, yes, I'm an actor, I'm taking this seriously, and that I want to...
Phone call was clarification, just like the UFC call. And even though I've got a world title, I've got 2 times British title, Chinese kickboxing, a European Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu championship, you know what I mean, back in 2004, British champion in BJJ, and then getting into the UFC, it's like clarification, but you still, now getting that phone call a couple of weeks ago, that was clarification for me as an actor. It was like, this is kind of like, I'm getting there now, because there's many times, I tell you now, there's many times I wanted to throw the towel in. And I've gone to my coach, I've gone, do you know what? Fed up with this, I said, I just feel like I'm just spending all this money and I'm doing all this work and I'm not really getting anywhere. I'm sending all these audition tapes off, I'm emailing these people, and I'm not really, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Demoralizing kind of
But then
thing.
you have to remember why you got started doing it as well. You didn't just do it just for being successful and make money. Obviously, that's a big part of it, because we all want to be comfortable, especially when we get older and we can't do the things, you know what I mean, or our family. We want to leave them and make it easy for them next time when we go on to the next journey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know when I want to go on to the next journey, hopefully I'll leave something here that they can, obviously me, I can leave something in them, but maybe I can help them out in some kind of way. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, I really fancied the acting myself for a while, but again, like you say, you've got to put so much in it to get out of it. And for me, it's about passion. I started script writing not so long ago.
You got to be passionate.
Yeah, so I was just like, instead of putting money and time towards something, just do what I'm passionate about. So I just went with doing like the script type of thing there. Like, so you never know, Ross, if someone buys me stuff, I'll put you in as the lead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get in contact with each other. Get that sorted.
Yeah, you got to find something, and you just got to be passionate first, because without passion, you're not going to do it. All them times I've wanted to say, I can't be arsed doing it, and to my partner and saying, I can't be arsed, I feel like this is just not really doing it for me. Do you know what I mean? 5 years, you know what I mean?
It's a different grind. It's a different grind, isn't it?
I get that phone call, and I'm like, hey, who's this? He's like, it's Scott. The guy who emailed you, I've sent you an email, did you not get it? And I'm like, no, we want you in the film. It's that's clarification. Doesn't matter about the money and whatever, it's about the fact that I'm going to be in something with people that are somebody that have already in the game. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, you're networking now.
Get contact, and build it up.
I've got my chance now to put my 10 pence worth in and bring something to the table and showcase my skills, you know what I mean, in front of an audience, a YouTube audience.
Yeah, the YouTube game's getting big. Oh,
with top Hollywood actors and British stars as well.
Well, when it comes out, we'll tag it on the link onto the bottom of this as well, because this is going to be out there forever as well. So it's just an extra thing, and we'll throw it on the Facebook page and all the other platforms for you, lads.
Yeah.
We'll share.
So it's just a case of that's clarified me that people know that I'm there. I've just got to keep working at it now. Just keep working at it, and just got to keep hoping, haven't you? You just got to open, just hope, pray, and just keep working hard, and hope that it comes up. You got to make it come off for you, haven't you? You just got to keep chiseling away. Because if I'd have given up now, them times when I felt like giving up, then I wouldn't be in Mortal Kombat, the new Mortal Kombat movie.
I know.
I wouldn't be choreographing a fight scene.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm thinking that could take me to doing Hollywood choreographed movies.
Yeah.
That could take me to the big time. You know,
what are you looking to do with the movie? Are you going to go for brutal, or are you going to go for stylistic sort of martial arts, or? Because I always remember do you remember the film Once Were Warriors?
I don't want to be one-dimensional, mate. I want to be able to act. And
no, I mean the scene that you're going to choreograph. What are you thinking with that? Are you going to go for like completely brutal, sort of realistic brutal, or is it going to be a bit more cinematic, or can you even talk about it?
It's going to be real, mate. It's going to be real as it can be.
Yeah.
See what I mean? It's going to be like far-fetched, kind of like, it's going to be real, mate, you know.
Do you remember Once Were Warriors, the film with Jake the Muss?
Right.
And they just have the scene at the beginning where he's just punching him and pounding him. That always, for me, I mean, it'll probably look dated now because it's going back 20 years plus, like, but that for me was a good one. Like, just like he's at the jukebox and he's like a bully and he just comes over and just bingos him everywhere. I always like that as sort of like a realistic sort of fight scene from one of the earliest sort of like late 80s, early 90s. That was good. But you'll probably have a bit more. I don't know.
Yeah, well,
you can throw more knowledge into it, can't you?
I'm fighting. What's his name now? Oh, Sub-Zero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's be careful in case you get told off by the big boys.
What's that?
Don't spoil the film so you get told off
I'm sure like that you know isn't it? You know what I mean?
Let's just go through the whole film plot. What? Who wins?
Well, look,
like, yeah, no, it's yeah. Look out for the film, man. It's gonna be exciting.
Definitely. We'll definitely share it. And I'll definitely watch. I remember watching because Mortal Kombat used to be a game at first on PS3. I remember. And obviously, the film came out.
On like the Sega, mate. It was on like the Sega and the Nintendo back in the day.
Well, they are okay. I think. Well, I remember playing it on PS1 and that, and PS2, and then. But like, that's a big role. Like, that's a big franchise. Obviously, it's going to get.
They want me to go to the next Comic Con here and that, and do a signing and stuff. They've got a big stall there and stuff. So. Yeah, you know, it's on about bringing me forward as a character, so it's quite exciting, man.
Nice.
That'd be good. That'd be brilliant. Do you feel that's going to open up a lot of doors? And what kind of are you looking just for films? Are you looking for TV as well? So like, you know, I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'll take whatever I can get, mate. You know what I mean?
At the start, you can't afford to be picky, can you? You've got to just sort of get your stuff at your belt.
I'm dipping my little toe in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But you want
that? It's a massive stepping stone for me. It's like a massive jump. It's like I'm going from, like I said, from just going in to like, because
you feel like you have to like prove yourself at all, or like obviously you want to be taken seriously for this. And do you feel like that's going to make you? This film is going to make you take it serious, and then
started upping my training. I'm upping me techniques more. You know, my fitness. You know, I'll be honest.
You want to take it serious, don't you? Like this is not hot. This is like serious. Yeah. Do you feel like that's?
I need to take my top off and look ripped.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like the day started, I've started changing the way I'm eating. I've started running more. Do you know what I mean? I've got something to train for more, as into obviously I train to keep fit, to keep strong, to keep active. You know, but what I'm trying to say is now it's giving me that inspiration, a bit like fighting, because that's something. You know, with not fighting, I haven't got that same. You know what I mean? Like I had to cut weight. I had to get to that. That date at that time. Now I've got a date and I've got a time, and I've got something I've got to work on my techniques for, not just me acting, me speech, but everything, how I carry myself, how I move my body. do you see what I mean? Am I graceful when I move?
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm trying to say? So I've got to be in the best shape I can be again, just like the fight game. So it's giving me something to move forward for. Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
So what was the process like? What was so when did you first realize I want to get into acting? You want to take it serious, and how did that process work? Like, did you have someone guide you, or?
I didn't want to stop fighting. Fighting's my passion. I stopped fighting because I got an injury in my ankle. The Zoromski's fight, which I shattered my ankle, lost all my cartilage training for the Ross Mason fight, training twice for the Chain Mills fight, and then losing my contract with Cage Rage, and then having a CT scan, finding out I shattered my ankle on all the bits inside, that the pain from all the running through all these camps over the last year has basically mangled up all the cartilage between my fibula and my ankle. So they've got to take it all out. And I ended up having like 4 operations, 4 different times, where they'd gone and cleaned it out, took the splinters out, I had to go back and take more out, reshape it because I had calcium growths. So that kept me out of the game for 3 years, come back in 14, I'm a singer, then carried on fighting. And my mind wasn't right, fighting for the wrong reasons. You lose, you've got to fight because you've got to pay your bills. You know what I mean? What else I'm going to do? This is what I've done all my life before. You know what I mean? I can't go back to the things that I was doing, 20 years ago. You know what I mean? 15 years ago.
So was it something that you just landed on, or did someone say, "Oh, you should maybe go into acting," or how did that process work? Like to think, "Oh, actually, I want to be."
I'll be honest with you. It's something I've fancied doing from a young age, from a child. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I said again, I think the bullying, I think that changed me. As like, being picked on about my clothes and things, and just maybe my haircuts and stuff like that. And you know what I mean? Just being a nice boy, mummy's boy, maybe, and they didn't like it or something. Do you know what I mean? Things like that can affect you. And I've got brain block, man.
No, too much of that is lost now, man. I mean, I've got 2 boys now, and I'm sort of like, when you're a kid, you think it's like, oh, mummy's boy, this, that, and the other. But looking at my kids, I don't want them to lose that innocence. You know what I mean? I don't think, for me, like, as a dad, I mean, don't get me wrong, I want them to be one of the lads and stuff like that, but I don't want them to just turn out to be like adults by the age of 10. Which I think now that they've got the phones and everything, like, it was different for me and you, Ross. I mean, phones were coming out as we were younger or whatever. But now they've just got access to everything. Like, I feel like they're adult by the time they're 10, 11 years old, and they just lose that childhood. And, like, it's fair enough, like, trying to bully someone for being a mummy's boy or whatever. But, for the first 10, 16 years of your life, man, your family's like your main sort of thing. The friends you were friends with back then, you probably know 1 or 2 of them now.
Yeah, and a lot of bullying as well is, insecurities that they have as well. So, there's that saying, like, when
the confidence again. Do you know what I mean? Coming out of the fight game, realizing that obviously, I've got my gym, I've got to concentrate on that. I've got my G5 gear, which I started implementing. But before that, I obviously 2009 was the birth of Gladiator Promotions, Night of the Gladiators, there's a YouTube channel if you want to go check it out.
Yeah, we'll put the link on.
Miles Fights is on there. So
that's my fight.
2009, that's what I needed to do because I couldn't fight. I had no qualifications. I had no job, and I was like, "Wow, I've just lost my contract. What am I going to do? Well, I'm gonna put a fight on. I'm going to give some guys opportunity fights. Let's see what I can do, man." Cage Warriors wasn't about then as well because they'd stopped for a while. Andy, he'd sold Cage Warriors and that, like Dean and stuff, the promoters before, he was good friends with and that, and I just had to go doing it, did it, it was successful, and that gave me time to then kind of like get my ankle sorted. It covered me. Then we had the credit crunch yet, and it all went to. Mate, I was lost for a while, mate. You know what I mean? Taking fights for the wrong reasons, just for pay the bills. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's not there. I fell back into the wrong path again. You know, just difficult, mate. You know, and then yeah, like I concentrated on the G5 gear, concentrated on the gym, concentrated more on the promotion. Then I went back to fighting again, but yeah, my ankle wasn't really right. That wasn't really, you know, it just wasn't no fun. Losing, going in there, ticking all the boxes, doing everything right, but still not coming up on top, you know. But then maybe if I'd had a manager, somebody guide me, maybe. I don't know, because then I didn't do bad, because I got to the UFC. I got all these titles, and I did it all myself to do all this and get there and get all them fights and pave the way and get the money that I got to pay me bills, because I was on some good money, man. That I believed I was anyway at the time. Do you know what I mean? You know, for each fight, and more than most guys were on anyway, because of my name, because I'd been in the UFC.
You had that BBC Three documentary as well, didn't you?
Everybody who's been in the UFC, they want to put you up against their best fighter. You see what I'm saying? You then become a scout for them. Do you see what I mean?
To build them up.
And that's what I became. I didn't come away from the game. Maybe I should have just come away from the game and kept me lovely 7-5 record. Do you know what I mean? You know,
you feel that's
kept on the winning side.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? I kept going at it. I kept trying. I kept moving forward, and I kept paying my bills. You know, and I knew by taking, like, you know, I fought for 5 world titles. You know what I mean? You know, which is quite a lot. 5 world titles against decent guys, mate.
It's a catch-22, though, isn't it, Ross? That you do have to pay the bills, though. And I know it's not necessarily passion, but you said yourself you can't go do a 9 to 5. It's not who you are as a person. I mean,
at the end of the day, I succeeded because I'm still here now.
Yeah,
I've still got a new phone in my head. I've got a nice car. I've got a nice house.
You're in the BM, aren't you?
Yeah,
That's
I don't
last
really.
time I saw.
You get what I'm trying to say? I'm an hustler. I can survive. I'll hustle every day. Do you see what I mean? Because that's what I've been. You know, that's what I need to do. You know, to survive. You know, and you just find ways and means. You know what I mean? It's like now, I know I'm not going to be able to roll around with the lads forever in the gym. Okay, I'm going to be able to teach them, but at some point, I'm going to have to slow that down. I know that. Do you know what I mean? I know the gym's not going to be my life forever, because at one point I'm going to be 60, and maybe I'm going to, like, do you see what I mean? I've got to find something that can keep me sane and maybe be a business for me as well. Do you see what I mean? Because not only that, I can teach acting.
Yeah. How do you feel about that? Like that potential?
Now how to act, my old hunter. Do you see what I mean? Because I've done 5 more years than you've done.
Yeah.
So I could teach you to act. Because I can pass on my skills now and my knowledge. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. So you say teaching's your passion as well, then? So obviously you got your gym that you teach, and that is that your passion? Would you say with acting that you want to do?
Of course, yeah. It's always been with passion, coaching, but yeah, it's that's always been with passion. My gym. My gym's my world, and that's what made me who I am today. But what I'm trying to say is, at the moment, I'll still spar with you, and I'll still get on the mats with you, and I'll grapple with you. Do you see what I mean? And I'll be there every night and train. But at some point, I know, because like now, my body, I get up off the couch and I'm like, oh,
yeah.
You know, I've got aches and pains in the winter, and you know, I've got injuries.
You know what, Ross? I've still got ribs that I still feel from when you used to do the kicks, just constant body kicks. And you used to have your arm up. You just have your arm up and just bum. And you just take some punishment. And I was like the biggest one in the gym. So Ross will go, I'll go with you. Ross would just kick the shit out of me ribs for about 10 minutes. You're like, it'd be a 3-minute round, and he'd be like, yeah, it's about 4 or 5. And And the next thing you go, right, it's your turn, Ross. He goes, no, I'm the coach. I'm just doing you because you're here training. You fucking walk off and leave me. But yeah, no,
brilliant.
Ross is a great teacher, man. I can say that from experience. Like, it was about 3-4 years, wasn't it, Ross?
Yeah,
You were coming up to Liverpool to train our place.
Yeah, it was a good time, man.
Yeah.
Not to Crosby, yeah, it was good, man. I like Crosby. It's a good place, man.
Yeah, well, mate, what we'll have to do is we're running out of time here because I'm running out of memory on the thing. But we'll have to sort out. Miles is back and forth from England and Gran Canaria. We'll have to get you out on a flight. You can stop in ours or bring the kids or something.
Yeah, you're in Gran Canaria now, aren't you? So yeah,
mate,
good.
Just the sun, lad. Just love the sun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I remember your fight, the guy was like, what's your name? I was going to tell him my full name, Mark Garcia Muncie. I was like, mate, just say Muncie. It's just easier. Just because if it's too long and just like, they just won't get it. It's like, fair. It's just easier, isn't it?
Yeah, you can check.
Yeah, I was born.
Check Miles' fight out online. Gladiator Promotion.
I'll put the link and then.
Yeah, and there's lots of fights on there. You know what I mean? I've still got loads of history that I need to add on there, like content from like 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5s. I think there's like 18 onwards, up to like 40.
We'll get them on our platforms for you.
Yeah,
we'll share them across that, mate.
100%.
Yeah. Nice one, man. Yeah, check me gym out as well. If anybody ever wants to come and do any one-to-ones with me, Gladiator MMA Gym. Yeah, you can sign up online. I do online training as well. So there's online classes, one-to-ones. Yeah, the gym's open back April the 12th, and then hopefully, I've got my cage hire as well. If anybody's got any shows and they need a cage hire and sound system and stuff like that, I do that, which is GPUK Cage hire. You can find that on the gladiatorpromotions.co.uk site. And the
clothes,
the events, I help people out with events and stuff. Got the clothing, G5 Gear, g5gear.com, and gladiatormma.co.uk.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And then the acting, of course, as well.
Yeah, and the acting as well, man. If anybody wants me for any work, just get at me, man. You know what I mean?
No, definitely.
So, yeah, but thanks for having me on and talking to me. I hope I haven't bored you too much.
No, Ross, it's been an absolute
it's a pleasure. It's been brilliant.
There's still lots of things I'm keeping quiet for when I write my book.
Oh
yeah. We'll
have you back on after it comes out.
You know what I mean? There's things you get your little things out then, don't you? Your things that people don't know about you. You tell them but then your book, maybe that's where it all comes out then. You know what I mean? Your raw stuff then. Your raw stuff.
When's that coming out? Just so people can get aware of what's
April the 12th, yeah. April the 12th for back open.
What the book's coming out April 12th?
Oh no, I've not written a book. Not yet.
No, say when he does the book, Mass.
I thought you were giving us a little exclusive there.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Something I want to do. I want to write a book, man. You know what I mean? Because obviously, the chapter in my life now is done, and it's I'm on to new chapters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a new beginning for me. I've got a new sights ahead. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
winning the school, and being the greatest. Something like
oneself. Love that.
All right, guys. Ross, thank you very much, mate. I appreciate it.
Have a good day, guys. Good to see you guys.
Don't forget to click subscribe and hit the notification bell. Thank you.
Everybody else out there, all you fighters, young fighters, keep training, man. When it gets tough, just dig deep, man. If you really want it, you'll make it happen, man.
Good man. Nice one, Ross.
Nice one.
Yeah.